Okay, hello, welcome to my garage. This is where I'll be making the next episode of Rolling Stock. In fact, I'll be attempting to make 2 episodes because it's such an effort just to make one. I might as well make 2. If you got all the toys out, you might as well do a big thing rather than a small thing. And this video is just to alleviate some of the questions that I've been receiving recently on YouTube. I get many mails from all sorts of Thomas lovers, train lovers, just general people which enjoy the original Rolling Stock video, and I'm so glad that people do enjoy it because 8 years ago it was made and really only about 100 people ever saw it until the advent of YouTube, and I think I posted it up about a year and a half ago. But I've been very pleased with the way it's been received, and of course there was a lot of effort put into that video to get it to the way it looks. Again, this will be the same for the next episode, and in a sense it's going to be a little bit more complex to make because I want it to be a better story, and in a sense writing is not one of my strongest points, but hopefully we'll get a nice story written for this. I'll just go around and show you some of the aspects to the next videos without giving too much away, and just to show you the devil is in the detail. It's one of my favourite sayings at the moment, and there's a lot of detail in this, and from what I gather from the viewers, they want a lot more explosions. But then again, there are some which want less. I didn't like seeing Thomas getting blown up. It's very difficult to please everybody, but I do get the vibe that explosions are in, and lots of them. So I mean, I'll have to do it without destroying everybody. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty and have a close look at some of the new stuff. Moving the trains in the first episode was one of the major headaches that I had, and really restricted the amount of movement and action I could do with these trains. Here we see the standard ERTL die-cast model with the standard wheels, useless on HO track. Here's the Thomas model that I've converted and put HO wheels on him, in fact the whole HO bogie. Here you can clearly see the difference between the original wheels and the conversion. Here's an example of one of the new characters and the way that I removed the original wheels by drilling out the rivets, taking away the wheels, cutting out a little bit of plastic, and then luckily on this model easily installing a HO bogie, and that'll be glued in place, and now it's very easy to run up and down on the rails. And for a first time my models can negotiate a set of points. Here are all the scrap wheels discarded from modified models. You know who to contact if you need a spare wheel. There were 2 types of HO bogie I used. The double axle bogie, which was sometimes split to make 2 single axles, and the 3 axle bogie, which was generally used on most of the trains. Here we see all the models converted to HO bogies. Amongst them are some of the new characters in the next 2 episodes. These larger characters were not converted to HO bogies. They're very difficult to convert, and some of the characters do not appear in the next episode. One of them is Gleaming Red Ted. I've also got 3 Toads. They won't feature either, they'll just be in the background as fill. These diesels will also be converted, and they play out in an explosion scene. That's why I need multiple of them. And we'll track along and we'll see some of the other miscellaneous characters that I'll come across that will feature in the story as background action. And there's the old Fat Controller's car. What a beauty. In episode 1 we saw Scottish John develop an LPG system to power the trains instead of coal. That wagon was actually made from the diffused gunpowder wagon. In the next 2 episodes the LPG cylinders will look like this. Here we see one attached to the knoll. The cylinders are the insert found inside a Kinder Surprise egg. The next episode doesn't require coal trucks, so they'll be converted to be the LPG cylinders for all the trains. Andy Diesel's back, mean and black, and has revenge. He's got 20 of his friends waiting to take over the railways. This is the original Andy Diesel that we see in episode 1, which was totally burnt to a crisp. Luckily I've got a friend at work named Tristan who was able to cast him, and I was able to replicate as many Diesels as I needed for the next episodes, as these models are no longer available in Australia. Every detail from the original Andy model is transferred in this cast. I'm really lucky to know some very crafty people. Thank you again, Tristan. The diesels do play a huge part in the next 2 episodes. This time around, I built everything up much higher, so I'm not bending over to do the work. There's a whole bunch of new model train buildings to add to the next 2 episodes. They're built up from flat cardboard packs and are highly detailed. There'll be a crash scene with the helicopter, so I'm going to need multiples of it, as some will be destroyed. Here we see the only remaining piece from the original rolling stock video. It's part of the coal mine, and this will be one of the prizes in the upcoming competition when the trailer's released. In this piece represents all the hallmarks from the original video. I'm pretty sure that there'll be some mad keen Train and Thomas collectors out there who would be dying to have this stuff in their collection. Interestingly, I've had a lot of people ask me about the blown up Thomas, so maybe this will be another nice prize. I might dress him up in a bubble pack, make him look like something he bought from the shop, but it's a blown up Thomas instead, and not a fresh spanking new one. Let's say if you win these and you don't want them, I'd be throwing them on eBay and letting them go to the highest bidder. Each prize in the upcoming competition will also have attached with it a DVD of the Mad Bomber, so you can enjoy the video in detail which is not seen on YouTube. I did also find some non-licensed Chinese copies of Thomas products. I'm going to find these very useful for a number of reasons. I could use the faces on these models for my diesels. They'll come in useful for a very quick scene of an explosion or impending disaster where the model may get damaged. Here we see the real magnetic coupling Thomas vehicles sitting above the fakes. They're very similar indeed. There's the real one, and just below it there's the fake. It's got a missing wheel and it's made of plastic. On the rear of the packaging has this wonderful quote, "Thomas Dave's the day." It's a shame the ERTL models are no longer available in Australia. The only options really are the magnetic coupling type die-cast models. And as you can see here, they look nothing like the ERTL model. It's a distortion from the original Thomas character completely. There is another small-scale Thomas that you find in Australia around the supermarket areas, and it's made of plastic, and it's even more squashed than the magnetic coupling type, and more distorted compared to the original ERTL model, which is what my series is based on. One thing I will reveal is the next episode is a dream sequence, and this involves Thomas inside Thunderbird 2. I'm putting this scene in to the next episode. It's my homage to a fantastic TV show, Thunderbirds. It's a bit of a standoff, and it's basically Andy telling Thomas, it's a bit of a wake-up call to Thomas about exactly where he's in the scheme of things. How's that for a combination of 2 absolute classics? Having the models fitted with Hechobogies has given me a complete new freedom in movement. No more pulleys or sleds. I've just got beautifully moving models. I really do believe the great breakthrough for the next 2 episodes is having all the bogies HO. It's going to greatly enhance the action. I really look forward to making episode 2 and 3 of a lot more movement. Right then, I've got some unfinished business. I'm off to see the grand designer and just find out what is going on with this railway. I need new trains and I need them now.